Hey everyone, and welcome to the PivotBoss Closing Report for April 6th, 2016. I'm Frank Ochoa, aka PivotBoss, with analysis for the upcoming session here. Taking a look at the daily time frame of the ES. Price bounced off the lows here, just shy the 2030s here, and basically rallied back toward 2061. We talked about the idea before that pullback should remain buying opportunities for a continuation higher until we see that distribution top form. Until we see that, we're likely going to see further upside price discovery. But once we get into 77 or 83s, perhaps, that could be the top end of the range where we then come down and start to form a range. So right now, continued overall price discovery to the upside. Buy the dips continues to remain the primary approach. And if we look at the intraday time frame here, something we talked about during the RT trading room, is right here, basically how prices down here we're rounding off a little bit and suggested that we could see a rally back toward 2057 and perhaps even higher. And so 2057s were hit by the end of the day, which was pretty impressive. And now what we're looking at is 5-day VPOC going bid. So a retest of 2051 could offer an opportunity for bulls to defend, or even as low as 2048 for a continuation into 2070s and likely that 2077 half target. All right, let's take a look at crude oil here. Crude oil saw a significant bounce. We came just shy of our target here, just mere tick shy of that 35.17 target, and then bounced back into 37.50 to 37.65. I talked about before that 50 to 65 zone was going to be a very important area to watch for a defense and a potential continuation to new lows. Squeezing and holding back above 37.65, 37.50 would suggest a bounce back into 40. So it's going to be very important to see how this plays out early on. But any early rejection of prices above 37.50 could get this thing headed back toward 35.17 with a likely continuation into 32.50. So this is going to be important. Again, this pivot's very, very important right here. Any rejections above it opens the door back down. Any acceptance at or above it opens the door back to 39.72 to 40. Here's the intraday time frame. Right now, basically what you're seeing here is how price traded near the end of the session, but it was after a significant rally here. So we had a clear trading range that had developed early in the session, back and forth, back and forth. Eventually, the crude oil inventories report came out here. There was upside expansion through the top of that range, and then price continued on to the 100% expansion target at 37.72 and is now holding at highs after shifting VPOC up to 37.71. So very solid continuation. Remember, this all started down here when I mentioned we could snap back to value at 36.98. We got there, and now we've continued even higher and are very close to shifting value up on the 5-day basis as well into that 37.71. So right now, early on, 37.50, very important level here. Failure to hold above that level opens up a move back to 36.64. Holding this level as bulls continue to defend it could open up a continuation to the upside, and the upside target ahead is going to be that 40 level. So up into 40s could be a final target zone, as that is where rejection was seen in the prior period of time. All right, taking a look at gold now. Here's gold. We saw the significant rally that happened. This pullback created the distribution range, and we've been inside that range ever since. Right now, we've had a downtrending market short term. We're holding right above support, and we're getting very, very, very tight and narrow. So right here, this is a very narrow price range compared to average. I'm not ruling out another squeeze back into 1265 to 1275. If we do squeeze into that area, we could see another rotation back down. But I am cautioning that if price breaks through the 1202 half, that could be significant, and that could open up a continuation into 1095s. So while we aren't quite there yet, I'd be watching for any rejections up top for a slingshot move downward. But this is a very narrow range here, so watch for expansion in either direction. Lastly, let's take a look at the NQ. The NQ saw a significant bounce here late in the session, basically pulled back toward the midpoint of the previous week's range, and that is the bottom of the pivot range, and saw a push back to the high. and now we could see a continuation into the primary target for the week, which is 45.84, and a shot to see 46.26. So a very solid pullback early Monday, Tuesday. Wednesday we see the beginning of the squeeze, and we could see Thursday, Friday head into 4,600. If we look at the intraday time frame, you can see how this thing kind of materialized. Early on, we were looking for a sell the early rally after the open price came out. We were looking to sell the first rally for a shot at new lows, and then here was the first bounce, and we dropped right into the close, which happened to be the open as well, and prices were defended on many rotations. From there, it became apparent that we were likely headed for a squeeze behind the strength of the NQ compared to the ES, and that did result in a squeeze through the previous session's high and then into the previous month's high, where it chopped and eventually broke that range to the upside, closing above the previous week's high. So a lot of key levels here that you usually don't see. The previous high of the session, previous month's high, and the previous week's high, all in play today as this thing continues higher. Overall, the push to the upside was expected by the end of the session. We were looking for some sort of squeeze to new highs, and this thing could continue on into the primary target for the week at 45.84. So this could be only the beginning of a continuation into 45.84 and perhaps a move into the 100% ADR target, which is 46.26. All right, that's it for now. Let's see how this thing plays out the rest of the week. Good luck and trade well.